Yes, I wanted to add, as a woman, just think if you were taking a man out to dinner, right? And he wasn't into you. He was just spending your money. How would you feel? You know, sometimes, and for me, it happened to me one time, one guy I told y'all about, and I'll never really know how he really felt. Like I told y'all, he's not here anymore. Unfortunately, he passed away. But yeah, it wasn't a good feeling. I felt low key used. You know, we going on all these dates. I'm like, oh, so what's good to being official? He like, oh, it's too soon. It's too soon. Like I was basically the dude, you know? But it's like you gotta put yourself in a guy's shoes, and that situation I'm always grateful for because it humbled me. As hot as I am, as physical as as physically attractive I am to most men, and most, as intelligent as I am, yeah, somebody humbled my ass real quick. And I have a son, and I would not want somebody to use him, you know. So always keep that in mind, ladies. A lot of the times, and I've seen it on Instagram, and it's a shame, women going on dates to get a free meal. If you know that you are not attracted to this man, like you've been out on a few dates and you know you not, stop doing that. Because guess what? Somebody going to do it to you. I've never done it to nobody. You know, I could rest easy, and I know that I could truly say that I've never used nobody. Never. Never used nobody. So, I don't have the heart to do that. You know, it's just, to me, that's just wicked. But you have a lot of women who do it, and it's not nice because you spending all his money, and then he's gonna eventually want something in return, whether it be a relationship, sex. He gonna want something. He gonna want something, right? So always put yourself in that person's shoes, and yeah, just trust your gut, your instincts. And like I said in a previous video, be careful with that addy. Don't feel like, because I know for sometimes as a woman, if you don't have your own car and you meeting somebody offline, you kind of want them to pick you up because it's like you might be wearing a really nice dress, or you might be wearing something revealing, so you want them to pick you up. My advice is to get an Uber, and if you don't want to pay that much, in an Uber, what you can do is ask him to send you an Uber. If he's reluctant, then make sure you get a restaurant that's close to your house. This way the Uber amount won't be much, right? So like I live in Brownsville. If I was meeting somebody offline or something, I would have them meet me like by Barclays, right? So this way, if I need a ride home, I could just hop in an Uber and it won't cost me much. Or even a closer area is Bushwick. Bushwick is right there. So I could just hop in an Uber, whatever. And one thing my father said that actually is good advice is make sure you always have your own car fare. Make sure you always have enough money to go back home, and you have enough car fare to don't rely on Negroes and their cars. That's one thing my father taught me. He's right. You don't rely on nobody for no ride. If they acting funny style or whatever, you get that Uber immediately. If you feel funny, he trying to make you drink, that's another thing. I don't think you should go drinking on a first date. I think going for drinks on a first date. Now, if you drinking with your meal at a restaurant, that's something totally different. But just to say, oh, we're going to a bar for the first date, to me, that's a red flag. Because it shows that, like, what the fuck, he trying to get you drunk on the first night? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, first of all, for me personally, I don't go out for drinks. I go to party or to eat. And if there's liquor involved, then so be it. But to actually, some people do that. Like they go to a bar, sit down, and just drink, and that's it. I personally don't do that, and I feel like that's something you do with coworkers. That's something you do with friends, not on a date, not on a first date, you know. So, yeah, ladies, there's no right or wrong to date. I think for the first date, I think, oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. So my professor, she made a good point. She was like, if y'all don't really know each other like that, a woman should pay for herself because you don't know what's in the minds of these men. Also on Instagram, if y'all follow Instagram, you have men all over that's posting up, oh, am I coming over tonight? The girl says no. And they ask for the check and they be like, you paying for yourself. You said I'm not coming over tonight. Now, some people might say, oh, he not a gentleman, da-da-da. But he's being honest. He's like, yo, I'm not paying for you. This bill is $200 or whatever dollars. You could pay for yourself. You're not welcoming me into your home. That's what it is, right? So my opinion is no right and wrong. My professor, I agree with her because you don't know the mind of people. So you should have the funds to pay for yourself if it's a first meeting, like you don't know the person, like offline, whatever. I think you should pay for yourself because you're not gonna know after the first date if you really want to. I mean, yeah, but I don't know. It could be tricky, you know. But yeah, there's no right or wrong for dating, but you have to use your intuition. But I think, yeah, and you heard, and it was an older woman who said it too. She was like, I'm paying for myself because at the end of the day, I don't want him to think anything. You know, I don't want him to think I owe him something or whatever, you know. And then they like, oh, he's supposed to pay for every date. Da, 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 da. I don't agree with that either. I don't think that a man should pay for every single date. I think, especially if y'all are exclusive, like y'all are like in a relationship. In a relationship, you could pay sometime. You could pay sometime, but it should never overlap. It should never be you paying more than him. Also, it should never be you asking to go out more than him. That should never happen. He should be asking you, yo, are you free? Da, da, da. Sometimes as women, we get so anxious, like, oh, okay, when we going out, let him do that. Let him ask. Or whatever, you know. Now, if y'all been on a few dates and then it's like, oh, let me take you out for your birthday. Oh, what we doing for Valentine's Day? If it's, for me personally, and y'all don't gotta agree with this, if it's our first Valentine's Day, I shouldn't have to say shit. Like, you should put shit together. You should get the tickets or wherever we going. You should make the reservations, and that shows interest. Because once you start picking stuff for Valentine's Day, and this is, again, my experience, once you start picking places or whatever, they get used to that. And then they just get lazy. And then you picking out all the restaurants. And I read somewhere, I think it was Psychology Today or one of them, when you in a relationship and you picking out all the spots, it's lack of interest on his part. He's losing, because a man that's really interested and wanting to spend time with you, he's gonna pick some of the spots because it's just natural. Just like in a friendship, right? You friends with somebody, they not picking all the spots unless if it's like my homegirl Sandra I told y'all about, and sometimes I post her when we be out. That's my party friend, you know, or whatever. But most of the spots we go to, I would say about 95%, she picks it because she's a party goer. Like, I know spots because of her. I'm not really, like, the only time I go to parties outside of her is like if it's another friend and it's their birthday. But just to say we just going out to party, she's the party goer. She knows all the spots since our 20s. You know what I mean? So that's different. But if you're in a relationship, you're dating a man, he should put some initiative. He should pick out some spots. You know what I mean? So those are just a few tips that I wanted to talk about. You can comment, like, and subscribe, and let's talk. The floor is open. What do you think is some tips for a first date? What do you agree with or don't agree with? And those are my thoughts.